Manson to do a show. Johnny Million, how was Johnny Million's show today? Do the people have something to say about the Johnny Million of today? Yes. It's Fafo Eve. All right, let's do it. 1 second. 3, 2. I almost don't want the music to end, but here we go. We got to do a show. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It is indeed Fafo Eve Part 2. I think they're it's a three-parter. You know, Trump's experience of Fafo is it's a lot like the mythology of Star Wars. And I don't mean the storyline, I mean the bullshit that George Lucas said about him having the entire 3 movies of the first series in his head already when he made it, and that he wasn't rushing to catch up and patch all the holes in it. And the way you know that is from the initial Star Wars poster, because the shot where Leia is gripping Luke's leg about in basically in a wiener adjacent section of his leg, depending on how he dresses. I'm guessing he dressed right that day just because it's his sister. At that moment, that's when you, if you were George Lucas, would go, I love the poster. I love it. Minor issue. Later, she turns out to be his sister, and we'd rather this movie not just be a singular hit in Kentucky. And so if we maybe just move her leg closer to the knee, that kind of thing. Okay, so, but he told this story for the longest time that it was three movies from the jump. Well, in this particular instance, Fafo, of course, right now we're at Fafo 2, The Reckoning. I reckon he's in more trouble than he thought. Trump is experiencing his thrice Fafo experience as he experiences it as an experiencer. Sorry, I'm reading the chat and talking at the same time. He's having this experience, and it's he knows he's got another one. The Georgia shoe is yet to drop. It's just great. So this is Fafo number 2 for those of you that are keeping track, if we may. And this is working, and we're all good. All right, excellent. Oh wait, hold on. Excellent. Welcome. And how are you? Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's Houseparks Megaworldwide. That almost rhymes enough for me to say it like that from now on. I like it. Do that. Do that. All right. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. You learned there are 2 more indictments? Oh, indeed. There's lots of them. I'm not drinking a Diet Coke. I'm drinking, no, I would never drink Trump's beverage on Fafo Eve. No. I'm drinking iced coffee, plain iced coffee, in a glass shaped like a skull. Because, you know, that's how I roll on days where legal things happen that make you want to hold up a skull and go, yeah! But without actually, yeah. Thank you for asking. Hold on. Lovely people in the chat room. Chud is good. She got a barrage of tests. She has a bandage on her back right leg. You know, every time they take blood from her, they put a bandage on her. This time, apparently, she was bleeding. The bleeding didn't want to stop. I think she's just pegged the needle on too many holes in her body. I think once you hit over quota, you're done for. Anyway, so she still has a bandage on their upper thigh. They shaved her belly, poor thing. And they shaved her, like a chunk of her tail. And where else? Yeah, mainly there. Oh, and then her back right upper leg. So she's a mess. She looks like an old fur handbag left out in the rain. Bless her heart. But I will say this. She is more mobile than she has been. We have been, since the last time that was very scary, we have been hydrating the living shit out of her. And almost quite literally. And in that process of hydration, she's getting a lot better. I don't know that the doctor visits have helped. We'll find out. What does FAFO stand for? Fuck around and find out. Yes. So Trump has been fucking around and he's about to find out. So no, I'm not talking about MTG. She's ratty and going to stay that way. Trump, Trump's entire group looks like shit right now. Chud will recover. I don't think they will. So yeah. So Chud is she's asleep upstairs. She has eaten and had her liquid goo that hydrates her. Bondo, it's what plants crave, and as well as Chud. And she and so mostly she's been upstairs. We'll see if she makes it down. We don't know how old she is because she was feral. She's probably somewhere between 14 and 90. But as Indiana Jones would say, it's not the years, it's the mileage. So thanks so much, CSL. Yes, we currently the Cash App and the Venmo are have a twofold job. One is new computer. Two is Chud in descending order of in ascending order of importance. So Chud has been moved up in priority, obviously, but that's what it's for. So if you want to support the show, that's one of the great ways to do it. And don't forget, you can subscribe at on Twitch, and if you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. That helps the show. Also, become a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/HowSparks. Sound off, Patreons, assemble! And, okay, couple of things today. We'll jump right into this in a moment. Thank you for the super chat. Mwah. There we go. Mike Greenberg, thank you. Thank you for the coffee. Thank you, Mike Greenberg. This isn't a $5 coffee, but you know what I mean. Like in future, if I'm traveling, and that's what I'm saying. Or, of course, stacking towards jet. I have to, okay, real quick, cute story, and then we'll get to the real business. So, my son is on summer break, and he, split household, so he travels back and forth. He's me and his mom's and whatever, that happens. Okay, it's 2023. We all understand how that shit works. And, he's known about Chud's issues, but not seen it up close. And bless his ever loving heart, he saw all the stuff that, like her shaved leg from before and all that kind of stuff, and he was cuddling with her, and he slept with her the other night on the couch for hours, and he's been taking really good care of her and being very lovey. And he came downstairs yesterday, and I might tear up telling you this story because I'm a proud papa. And he had saved up $25, and he said, "This is for Chud's care, for her medical bills." And it was, wonderfully, wonderfully unnecessary and sweet. But I have to say, like, as a dad, yeah, he's 12. He just turned 12. And he brought down, it was just a fist wad of like single dollar bills and a couple of fives, and he's got Christmas and money from that he hasn't spent yet, and he has birthday money, and that's where he'd had it all in this like little container, I guess, and he just brought it down and said, "This for Chud." And when we brought her back, he well, we'll just leave it at that. It was just a very touching moment when he saw her when she came back. He got very emotional because she's a little worse for wear, and he's very caring, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a sweet thing. I feel good as a dad. I like this kid a lot. I think he's a keeper. But it was lovely. Yeah, it was all without any prompting from me or Summer or Ethan or anything. He just on his own came downstairs and did that. It was really sweet. It was like, way to be a little man. Yeah, he's 12. He just turned 12. Just, yeah. Isn't that nice? Yeah. It's good stuff. Hey, Boston Brian. You want to come back on Friday? Should we do a rundown of this week? Because I got Phil on Wednesday, and you maybe come back in the second hour. Well, you got work to do. We'll tape something. Maybe Saturday. Maybe we'll figure something out. I don't want you to have to. We'll work it out. Contact me. All right, here we go. So, anyways, that was just a nice thing. It was just a really nice thing. So, all right, let's get started with today's show because there's a lot of going on, and a lot of it is incredibly dumb, and I'm very excited about it. Can I? All right. There have been a few people in the Republican Party that have pushed themselves to the front of the line in the I'm going to back this dipshit um, until it burns my entire life down. And there are a couple of people where with smoldering lives, like Rep MTG and Boebert and a couple of others, where of course they're going to back Trump because they're going to lose anyways in the rest of their life. So if he wins, it's like it's like you don't have enough money to bet on a horse race. So for any of it to make a difference, like if you bet on the one you know it's going to win, you're going to double. You won't double your money. You'll get like $5, and it's not going to help you. So you might as well just throw it all at a total long shot. And if it works, you'll be able to get yourself out of at least a section of your problems, right? So you'll be able to pay off the bookies or whatever, but because you got to go on the long shot. And that's where I think a lot of these folks get to. There are a couple, though, that have been just jumping to the front of the line of this nonsense. And I have to say, like, one of them is, other than the fact that he's from Florida, I find very odd that he's backing this dude. But Byron Donalds is a representative from Florida. I forget the district. But he's all over the place defending Trump. Like if I was being completely cynical, it feels like the GOP are really like they've got 8 or 10 people who might do this. The rest of them aren't interested. But they're like, if we give more ground to one of our black members, then it'll lay some extra coverage. If I was being completely cynical, that's what it looks like all the time. Now, I don't think he's doing it under duress, and I don't think they're making him do it. I just think they're like, let him do it. That it'll be harder for them to attack or some nonsense. Like it seems that kind of cynical. Now, every time there's a microphone, though, to defend Trump, Donaldson will he'll like elbow the wind guard off the mic to get to like barf his Trump support down the barrel. So again, if there's any manipulation, it seems unnecessary. Except for the fact that maybe he wants a history in Florida politics and he thinks that's where the donor base is and that's his thing, or he just thinks. And here's the other thing. It might just be, and this might be the most shocking part, and you have to leave room for this. It might simply be that Byron Donaldson is an idiot who actually thinks Trump is an innocent man and the greatest president we've ever had. Which is just, like, we see people defend Trump all the time with that kind of language, and you're like, that's a silly person. Like, I'm a big fan of what Biden is doing. I loved Obama. Clinton did some rock solid stuff. And Jimmy Carter is just a gem of a fucking human being. Period. End of story. But I'm not deifying any of them. I'm just saying these are good men who tried to do good work. Like, it doesn't have to go any further than that. I don't have but this, like, fart huffing garbage from the right about, like, if there's no Trump, there's no America. You're like, I don't get that at all. Especially, like, how is that patriotism? How can you define that as America's a great country as long as a second generation rich kid who's never done anything his whole fucking life but lose other people's money runs the place. So, thank you for the Chud super chat. That was really lovely. Somebody just put 1984 as a super chat for Chud because that's the year the movie came out. Bless you. It was a good year overall. And I think, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in Nerd Halen. All right. Here's the weird part. Let's move on to this. Byron Donalds is on Fox Business defending Trump. And this is the thumbnail that they use for the show. You ready? Fox. This is Fox Business. Yeah. Check that out. Fox Business has made an AI / Photoshop, probably AI, using a real picture, and then they made a fake mugshot. And you know how it's fake? Because he's not actually that tall. But they they did this, like, they're trying to, like, they're trying to make their viewers go, he's been arrested, they're taking him. I just, like, at this point, they just got to be fucking with him. Like, this is a skewer. Okay, then, all right, political shakedown. GOP rep warns this will end our country. This will end our country. Yes, the prosecution of Donald Trump for stealing classified documents and participating in a conspiracy that he admits to, and other people are being charged in this conspiracy as well, by going after a former president and not treating him like a monarch, not treating him like the criminal that he is. We would save our country. All right, they've got to have a good explanation, and he's only got 5 minutes to do it. Let's fucking see.
Joining us now is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. And Congressman, it's always great to have you with us. So I want to get back to this.
Biden's 2 tiers of justice? Biden stays silent amid Trump indictment. By the way, the Dow is doing depressingly well under Byron and this lady. Fox Business, this is what you guys do. And this is like, I please at some point go, the markets are responding very positively to Trump being indicted tomorrow.
Feeling that there's a 2-tier justice system in this country, because so many people look back to Hillary Clinton and her emails and James Comey.
You mean the whole investigation that never actually bore anything out, that they actually continued past its viability anyways, and then after it, the talk of it by James Comey handed Trump the mild edge he needed to win the election, it turned out to be fucking nothing, versus Trump actively fighting and engaging in a conspiracy with his body man to hide documents, shred, or copy them. There's a fucking copy machine in the storage area right next to the document. So you can just go in there and make your own copies and come on out.
Saying there's no prosecutor that would prosecute this case. So they're prosecuting Donald Trump, and they're doing it now, and people are saying this.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but not everything is a crime. And sometimes unethical things or disturbing things aren't a crime. And sometimes something is maybe not unethical or disturbing to some people, but it is a crime. And then there are situations where you got somebody like Trump doing something that's fucking both. It's both. It's unethical and disturbing, and it's a fucking crime. I don't get this. Like, what kind of, like, attorney thinking is this? Because we see this a bunch. What attorney walks in and goes, Your Honor, I recognize that my client was found with a fork full of his victim in his mouth. He had a napkin covered in the victim's blood, tucked into his tuxedo, and he was imbibing a gallon of their blood at the same time, next to the soft illumination of a light made with a lampshade from their skin. But I would like to remind you, Your Honor, the mayor of this city has never gotten a traffic ticket, and there is just no fucking way he's never sped. Yeah, that's it. Great. Swing for the fences, dummy.
This is just downright unfair.
It's unfair. Why, oh, why? Hold on. Wait, that's not fair no more. It's not fair, bro. That's not fair. He could go to down and do the thing with the thing. Why how come? Why didn't not fail? It's not fail. Not.
Well, it's not even a feeling. There is a 2-tier.
It is not a feeling.
Justice system. That's exactly what's happened. Listen,
yes, there's a 2-tier justice system. One for you and one for me.
I've read the Durham report. I've read this FBI 1023 form about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. And now you're seeing this documents case. I've had a chance to look at this indictment.
Oh, so you've read the other two, but you've looked at the indictment. That's a curious choice of words, don't you think?
And it is crystal clear to me that if you're a Republican who basically stands tough against the...
Basically? Basically,
radical left agenda.
yeah, basically. I mean, he was standing tough against a radical left agenda, except when he was storing these. And again, I have to say, I don't know if Rupert Murdoch sent a fucking memo to Fox and Fox Business, but they're like, every time one of these dickheads tries to defend him, just show a really embarrassing picture of where this asshole stored this stuff. Because that's, I mean, if you want to, that's like something that they would accuse the left-wing media machine of doing, is that you bring him on, and then while he's trying to talk, you guys are putting up pictures of the shitter.
They're going to do everything they can to take you out. That's really what this is about.
No, they aren't. What did they do to try and take him out? What? What the fuck? What? Did they make him not return these documents? Did they make him tell Walt Nauta to bring these boxes in, 64 boxes out of the storage area after the subpoena, and then only return 30 of them? Take some of them to Bedminster? Who made him do this? God, all right, who is it? Mediaite? Who did it? Who did this? Keith Olbermann, did you hypnotize Trump and make him be an asshole with no regard for national security?
About Hillary Clinton destroyed emails that were.
You can't destroy emails. You can't. Ugh. She just destroyed the devices in her control that had those emails on them. And by the way, if they are classified and they shouldn't be out and it's dangerous, and what if they get in the wind? That's the proper thing to do. Nobody can destroy an email. It's fucking somewhere. Did she destroy? Okay. If Hillary Clinton hired a team of plumbers, in quotes, to, not real plumbers, obviously, although I don't know, maybe this is a weekend gig, to blow up the server room inside the State Department or flood it, as, happened magically to the servers at Mar-a-Lago recently. If she hired somebody to go into the State Department and erase shit there, wow, that'd be a crime. That'd be amazing. That's some straight up Homeland, West Wing 24 drama. Right? But destroying it on her end doesn't actually do anything. It still exists. They have all those emails. None of them amounted to a fucking hill of beans. Oh, it's so lame. And I gotta say, if either the uppers at Fox or Rupert himself or the Murdochs are just like, fuck Trump, we're sick of his shit, and every time some dickhead, look at the 80-20 rule, or the, I would say maybe 75-25 rule in this framing. 2 tiers of justice? Yes. This guy defending Trump no matter what the fuck he does because fuck America, and the other side is a turlet filled with classified documents where apparently if you're a guest at Mar-a-Lago, you can shit and read. Yeah. I need some light reading on the turlet.
By Congress. She destroyed them.
She destroyed them. She pwned them, bro.
And then the only reason why people found out that she had classified emails is because they showed up on the computer of Anthony Weiner when he was being investigated for child pornography. And that's
no. It was on Huma Abedin's laptop, as far as I know, that he had been using. And it wasn't child pornography. He was sending pictures of himself to people.
That's how they found her emails. Joe Biden took classified documents when he was a United States senator, when he was a vice president.
Yeah, when he was a vice president, he had every right to. And also, by the way, when he was vice president, listen to the layer of this, because Byron Donaldson, like I said, he's read the other stuff. He's looked at. He's had a chance to glance at the indictment. And in this particular instance, if I may, he listened to the wording. It's kind of crucial because Byron Donalds is not dumb. He's stupid.
Classified documents when he was a United States senator, when he was a vice president, they were found in his garage, found at his office.
Okay, by the way, they were found in his garage and in his office because he called the FBI when they had found other documents at the Penn Center and said, you know what? We need to do a sweep to make sure there's not stuff intermingled in that's gotten in the wind. We need to have a complete sweep. And they invited the FBI in and let them do the search themselves. They did a preliminary search, and then they said, we've got some boxes. Our folks don't feel comfortable even looking through them. So here, look through them yourself. And then if you need, we're going to have the FBI come into all the properties we're even tangentially related to, and they can do a walkthrough. Do you see the difference? Does that register at all? Like, because almost even the biggest Trump supporters, I don't think they don't know this shit. It's odd. It's really odd. Like these guys, like, you're going to tell me that Byron Donalds doesn't know this, doesn't know that both Biden and Pence offered up, for the FBI to do a search, like, unsupervised. Just here, knock yourself out, take a look, go through any place you might want to look and have at it. Meanwhile, Trump was literally like engaged in a conspiracy to lie and obfuscate, even involving lying to one of his own attorneys, causing them to commit an act in the furtherance of a crime unknowingly, and then possibly his other attorney committing an act in the furtherance of a crime knowingly, but trying to hide it. How do you not know this shit? Like, this isn't even close. Oh, God.
All these places that they should not have been.
Uh-huh. Unlike the shitter at Mar-a-Lago. Because at some point, what's the standard?
Donald Trump is a former president of the United States.
Yes, he is. And that's my favorite title that he has, besides, failed microblogger.
United States, that former presidents take information with them.
No. And by the way, information, is that what they do? Because he lost his security clearance. Biden revoked it because of concerns within the intelligence community.
They have an ability to declassify.
Listen to that fucking sentence. First of all, Trump has stopped claiming he declassified stuff. That's garbage. And on tape, he's mentioned it. They have him on tape saying he knows he doesn't have that ability, especially now, and that he didn't declassify the documents that he had in his possession magically like a fucking leprechaun spy before he left the White House. But listen to this.
Donald Trump is a former president of the United States. That former presidents take information with them. They have an ability to declassify.
No. And by the way, GOP trolls out there has to be at least one. There has to be. We get a good group of you folks in here. Maggots, one of you guys. Do you want him to be right about this? Think before you speak. Think. Do you want what he just said to be anywhere near the truth? Do you want Barack Obama to have access to and have the ability to declassify documents when he is no longer president, right now? Because what's the difference between a former president on the day after or 10 years later? Do you want Bill Clinton to be able to get in there and declassify shit? How about Bush? How about, by the way, Biden retroactively being able to do it while he's president to the time he was vice president, because Obama had signed an executive order saying that the vice president has the ability to declassify stuff on the same scale as the president does. Do you think for a fucking second, how in the shit do you think this is a good idea? By the way, I'm not afraid Jimmy Carter of Jimmy Carter doing it. I'm just saying Jimmy Carter doesn't even want that. No former president thinks that's a good idea. What do you just get? What do you think? The presidency is a fucking monarchy club? I mean, this might be Byron Donalds. I don't know how he did it. He really was, he's the turtle in the hair race in this. He's been like sneaking up on everybody to ultimately say what might be the stupidest excuse This might be the dumbest excuse I have heard.
Which nobody else has.
Nobody, not even the president who's there now. By the way, these people think that Trump could pardon himself as president. Do you think if Biden said, "I'm pardoning me and Hunter for all the stuff we did," you think they would go, "Oh, all right, well, he can do it. He's president. That's that." What do you think? I'm pardoning myself for the documents that I had while I'm still president. You can't do that. Well, then neither can Trump. Shut the fuck up. Let him go to jail.
And they are the executive branch when they are commander-in-chief.
They are the executive branch. Okay, so Byron Donalds is all in on the Bill Barr Supreme Executive concept.
If you're not going to prosecute...
You're not going to prosecute it? And is he vying to be the next John Kennedy from Louisiana?
A former president over something like this? Where is the indictment on Hillary Clinton? Where is the special counsel on Joe Biden? Because that special counsel seems to be taking his time, while Jack Smith has gone as a man berserk.
Well, that's
a man berserk. Yeah, he seemed that way. That I thought it was wrong of him to like finish the press conference when he announced the indictment by saying that, you know, all people are presumed innocent, and, you know, until they're found guilty by a jury of their peers in a court of law, and then teabagging every right-wing reporter in the room. That was just wrong.
Point. If we're going to have a conversation about documents, fine. Let's have it for every single person to whom.
Okay, but how about this? Great. Cool. We'll have a conversation about all of them. And we'll start with the guy who's not currently president and can't declassify anything, who just had classified documents about our nuclear program in his fucking shitter at his rental property.
It applies, including our current president. The problem is his case gets slow walked. The case on Hunter Biden gets slow walked. Donald.
No. And by the way, Hunter Biden's case, no matter what it is not national security. It isn't. The only case that actually has any legs might be tax stuff, and he's going to pay a fine if he didn't. If he didn't pay the taxes that he owed, he's going to pay a fine. He's going to pay the taxes in a fine, or pay the taxes and interest in a fine, or he's going to find some way to work it out with the government and blah, 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 and give him a painting. I don't know what the fuck. But it's not like none of us are worried about, oh, dear God, Hunter Biden has paintings of our nuclear program, and who's buying the paintings that are actually Da Vinci Code charts of where our strategic national interests are over the world, for fuck's sake. Trump himself had national defense secrets that he was showing to people, bragging about showing them to just randos, to people writing a book about Mark fucking Meadows. He did that on tape, apropos of fucking nothing, because he just felt Millie was saying shit about him, so he felt he needed to push back. They gave me the Saran attack plan. Look at it. So yes, great. Let's talk. When Hillary Clinton is running for president again, she'll move up and that will be a debatable point. Okay, but to none of these guys, none of them can point to a single leaked piece of information that is supposedly related to the 30,000 emails or the documents or her server at all that endangered American service people overseas or that did anything to endanger the national security of the United States. None of them even presume that. None of them are saying this. If this bit had gotten out at the time, it would have endangered the entire country. But our national secrets about our nuclear program and our allies' nuclear readiness and what we would do to retaliate against Iran if they attacked us or Israel, that's kind of timely and dangerous. And this asshole was hiding it on purpose and aware that he was hiding it.
The Trump case gets fast-tracked. Congressman, what can you and your colleagues do to at least, if we're going to have this conversation, make sure it's happening on the same kind of timeline? Because it's not happening that way right now.
Yeah, well, there's urgency issues, because Hillary's case was asked and answered a long fucking time ago. Here's a good idea. Call James Comey into a House, House Republicans get him to testify in public again. I don't know. We'll watch it again and let him tell you why there was no there. And then you guys can take the report that Republicans in the House and Senate put together and that said there's no there. And you can wag a finger at her again. And then we can go back to talking about our fucking nuclear secrets being in the shitter at Mar-a-Lago. How about that? Fast track.
Well, look, the first thing is, in terms of the Oversight Committee, all we can do is continue to investigate and release information to the public.
Right. Information, not evidence. All we can do is drip and drab things to make them seem more nefarious than they are. You know, when you don't have a lot of smoke, when you've got very little steam and you want to make it look like fire, you got to let it eke out at different times and only when they're walking by.
If other news stations choose not to cover it simply because it doesn't support their agenda and their narrative, there's not much we can do about that, but we will.
Cover what? Honest to God, look, I've been covering like the laptop, the alleged laptop. There is no Hunter Biden laptop, by the way. The hard drive contents that Rudy bought and all that shit and all the tangential stories that have gone with it. And there have been a couple of times where I was like, oh, they might have some real shit here. Let's give it a look. And one of those things was recently like, they were like, we know about Ukraine, we know about China, we know about Romania, but there's other countries you've not even heard about. Remember that? Comer was saying that for a fucking, like 2 weeks. We were listening to that shit. What country did it turn out to be? Ukraine, same thing. What were they talking about? A $5 million bribe. You know where that $5 million bribe went? It went to tax officials in Ukraine who were arrested. It never even got out of the country. It was a $5 million cash bribe. It didn't go to the Bidens.
We'll put that information out. We're actually moving through the appropriations process in Washington, D.C. That's going to start. And if
Really? You're going to start the appropriations process? Well, no time like the present. Oh, right, because the debt ceiling was passed and you guys got fuck all.
you have elements of the Department of Justice and the FBI who believe that there is only one set of laws for Republicans and not a set of laws for other people, then
not a set of laws. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's runaway lawlessness. Look at the Democrats. It's the fucking Wild West.
yeah, we're going to have something to say about that when it's time to appropriate budgets.
Okay, so that's defund the police, defund the FBI, defund the Department of Justice. When it comes to budgets, if you're not going to prosecute the people we want prosecuted because our guy is guilty as fuck and we need cover for him, then we're going to deny you guys funds. By the way, no, you are not. No, you aren't. The MTGs and the Lauren Boeberts and the Byron Donalds of the party are, of that right-wing caucus of the Republicans in the House is going to maybe try and leverage McCarthy into passing some sort of shitty, low-end, defund the FBI bill. And it's never going to get through the Senate, and it's never going to get signed by the president. And there are going to be enough Republicans who are like, what the fuck are you doing, to vote against it? So dude, you might as well just go down there and wave a flag that says, I've defunded the FBI with a giant swastika on the other side of it, and just move on.
Last thing is, this is at the end of the day belongs in the hands of the American people. We got to have a country where the rule of law is consistent across the board, not these political shakedowns, not political
shakedowns? Who are they getting cash from? Trump's broke. What kind of an asshole shakes down somebody who's fucking broke?
Prosecutions, because that is the thing that will end our country faster than anything else.
Congressman, a lot of people feel like this is a distraction from us talking about sort of the real issue.
Oh my God, they swapped women on me. I had no idea. Like did they just have them on like a lazy Susan?
Issues that Americans are facing too, which is a slowing economy and inflation.
I love how they have Ethereum right there. Ethereum is down. Really? Explain to me what good it is. Okay, I'll wait.
That's running well ahead of some of the wage increases that we've seen. I read a study this morning. We could be well into the second half of 2024 when we see the worst negative impacts of GDP. That's when we're all going to the polls. Why aren't we having more of a conversation around economics? And can you...
All right, look. All right, okay. Now they're fucking with him. Now they, come on. Come on. He's he's telling the whole story that why do we got two tiers of justice and it's unfair, and Hillary Clinton's emails and stuff and then they pop up the picture of the shitter right next to him and the stage. Like, they're not even using the storage room picture as much. They're using the stage and the toilet because they're the most embarrassing of the four pictures that we saw in the indictment. And then as soon as she brings up the economy, this is going to be terrible. The economy's going to be shit sometime next year. And right as she says it, and she's about to ask him about kitchen table issues and the idea, and this is Fox Business. Again, the stock market does not have to be indicative of the health of the economy. But I would argue that modern day retail investors are a much bigger part of the market than they ever have been. And that's one of the reasons why it keeps doing this, in spite of the fact that these fuckers wish it would collapse. But I love, because that is their standard, okay? When they hold up their standard and go, fuck, that's funny. That's really, really funny. Watch that again. Watch this moment again.
2024, when we see the worst negative impacts of GDP. That's when we're all going to the polls. Why aren't we having more of a conversation around economics? And can you bring that conversation back?
Why aren't we having everybody's investments are going through the roof? America is the biggest oil producer in the world right now. We also use more than anybody else, and if we cut our oil usage by 2 million barrels a day, and we can do it, kids. We can do it. It's going to take a little while, but we can do it. We will be forever a net exporter. But that's another conversation for a morning show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But that's fun. That's funny. Come on. They're just being dicks at this point. Oh my gosh, Daily Beaver. From the fellas at the what did you do? The folks at the Daily Beaver, what'd you guys do? That was lovely. Thank you. And that's Canadian. So I have friends where I could actually, hold on, move myself out of the way so you guys can see. Beep. And then I got to shrink it down because that's the problem with this guy. There we go. I want you guys to be able to see it when it happens, and you guys are lovely, and thank you. Oh my gosh, for resubbing, and bless you. And Daily Believers, thank you so much. And Loretta, and Jackie, and Bald Thanos, thanks a ton. And Cynthia, thank you as well. Did I miss anybody? I'll just slide this thing. Lisa Phillips, thank you. And Robert Brunswick, bless you. Michelle, thank you so much. Florida, you guys are awesome. Thank you for your support. And okay, so bless you. Can I not? Isn't that all right? Am I the only person? I think I'm the only person noticing this when it happens live. Anyways, okay.
Well, look, the reason why that conversation doesn't really happen in our country
is because wages and real wages are rising. And the Democrats are the only ones who give a fuck about wages at all. And if Republicans had their way, they would make it the most dog-eat-dog economy they possibly could, because they believe in this sort of Ayn Randian, I'm magically better than everyone else, and everyone in America is a lazy fuck but me. And if I could just lash them to a piece of furniture or in a desk in a shop and make them do what I want, the whole world would be better. Nothing great has been built without workers who don't have choices.
From a broad political perspective is because the media doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, why is the media? You know what? It's so bad that if I come on Fox Business and tell you how bad the economy is, they'll put a picture of how good the economy is next to me. God damn it.
Be very frank. They choose what they want to talk about. They choose what the topics are.
They choose what the numbers for the Dow will be. They choose what the crude oil prices will be. They choose what the wages are. They choose to be that pro-union movements have grown over the last 2 years. They choose to pretend that Biden's economy is better than Trump's, because it is.
And if that's not going to support Joe Biden in his efforts to get reelected, they want to
See what I mean? They're just being assholes. Look at the graph. Come on.
ignore it. That's the reason the southern border was basically ignored.
Was basically ignored. You mean while Title 42 was fucking it up? And by the way, can I just, for the record, anybody who's been keeping score, what I tell you about Title 42? As soon as it was over, number went down because it was recidivism that was driving the numbers up. Now they can't even say that. Think about all the shit that's going on, and they're not even going, we got an open border. Like, Trump says it like it's a fucking tick. He can't stop himself. But everybody else is like even Ted Cruz, they're embarrassed to say open border anymore because it wasn't true. And it was, and essentially, that means that when they considered it an open border, what they meant was Title 42. Title 42, people came across, they would just grab them up and put them right back in Mexico, and they would come back again. And then they would come back again. And there was a whole industry that was set up on the Mexican side of the border by cartels because people could try as many times as they wanted without any real legal ramifications. So you just keep doing it. Shit.
That's the reason why nobody ever talked about the fact that Vladimir Putin was amassing troops on the border of Ukraine for 6 months before.
They what? Nobody? Was he unconscious the last 6 months of 2021?
For the Ukrainian invasion. That is the reason why nobody's talking about the fact that Joe Biden's energy policy empowers China. We get the solar.
Okay, he's talking like it's aligned together. Joe Biden's energy policy. Yeah. How helps China? How? I'm sorry. You what now? Joe.
Fact that Joe Biden's energy policy empowers China.
Empowers China. Because they're. I'm baffled right now. I don't know because nothing is empowering China right now. They're in a world of hurt. The shit.
We get the solar panels from China.
Oh, I see. Because it's empowering China because they're empowering us because they make all the solar panels. Well, they're in, Germany and America and stuff. Hold on one second. If I may, can I show you guys something? Give me 1 second. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna. American-made solar panels. U.S. solar panels manufactures a list of American-made solar panels. There you go. And on January 22nd, 2018, the Trump administration announced a 30% tariff on solar panels and cells imported to the United States. That has stayed, by the way. This announcement raised a lot of questions and solar customers, blah, blah, blah. U.S. solar panel manufacturers updated for 2020. This is old, by the way. Here's a list of companies with solar panels made in the U.S. Mountain Iron, Minnesota. Whoops, get out of here. San Antonio, Texas. Jackson, Mississippi. Bellingham, Washington has a U.S. manufacturing facility. It's interesting that Seraphim, the Jackson, Mississippi one, is in... it just says U.S. headquarters. Solaria, Fremont, California, U.S. headquarters. Solar Tech Universal, Riviera Beach, Florida. Hillsboro, Oregon. Riverside, California, SunSpark. Tesla, Panasonic, Buffalo, New York, U.S. manufacturing facility. Other notable American solar companies. Here's a bunch of them. But I guess, Byron, fuck them, right?
Get the windmills from China.
We get the windmills from China.
That these electric cars, there's not enough energy on our grid to even power them.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, we don't even, America doesn't have the energy for a battery. It just, I think it's all the TVs. It's all the flat screens. I blame all the flat screens.
These are the real issues that matter. And last but not,
by the way, what kind of an asshole thinks that America's having like rationing? You think we're rationing energy anywhere in this country due to electric batteries charged in cars? The fuck?
not least, they don't want to talk about the fact that it's Joe Biden's reckless spending that has started this inflation, which has caused every American to fall behind, whether you're black or white, whether you're Republican or Democrat.
No, we came out of COVID. We don't have monetary inflation. We had supply shock. It's a natural part of the extraction of our manufacturing and our supply chains out of other countries and into ones either here or closer to us. It has nothing to do with the amount of money in circulation. We lost somewhere in the order of $20 trillion worth of business during COVID, and we patched that hole with $6 trillion worth of stimulus. And there is no fucking way in the world that $6 trillion patches a $20 trillion hole. If indeed Dum Dum here knew what the fuck he was talking about, and we'll go to it live. So let's see if we hold on one second. I want to go here. Let's see. Let's see. US dollar index. Yeah. So real quick, and this is a test. This is only a test for our dear friends. Do we have any maggots in the crowd? Are there any maggots here today? Because I know some of them are upset. Yeah, anybody? Nope. We'll see this. Okay, because I've got a question specifically for those folks. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. In supply side or a demand driven economy, I have a question. I have a question. If you have too much of something, can you sell it for more or less? Let's say you have a standard like payment that you expect for it, whatever it is. Something costs you 30 cents a widget, and you don't have enough widgets and people want them. Can you charge more for that widget than 30 cents in that circumstance? Yes, correct? Okay. If you have way too many, no matter what the usage is, can you still charge 30 cents for that widget? Or do you start cutting it? Maybe you go 27, maybe 25 cents a widget, right? You got to move them. So supply side econ, no. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm trying to use language, right, that they can kind of grasp. Okay. You'd sell it at a discount. That's right. If you got too much of something, would it be worth more? That's the big question. Super, super easy. Anybody? I'll wait because it says there's a little bit of a delay in the chat room from when I'm speaking. Maggots, anybody? Republicans, Trumpers, somebody who considers themselves a fiscal conservative. Explain to me how something that is you have too much of is worth more than when you have less of it. In any circumstance, in any financial circumstance ever. Can we, if I may, because this is gonna, yes, the value of something drops when you have too much. If there's too much of something, the value of it drops. Great, clear, concise, wonderful. So why the fuck is the dollar worth $1.03? The US dollar is trading at more than $1. It hasn't been below $1's worth in a fucking year. It's been as high as $1.14. Foreign countries are needing more dollars So they are buying them for more than $1. If Joe Biden, again, is trying to destroy the dollar, he's got a really fucked up way of doing it. I know, I'll destroy it by making it too strong. Yeah. And again, the root of this is, and this is beyond your belief system about strong dollar versus weak dollar, exports and imports and trade and all the aspects of the philosophical differences in economics between whether you want your currency to be, more valuable than the goods or vice versa and all that. That's a whole other conversation. But the argument from Byron Donalds and all these assholes, every single one of them, even not Byron Donalds, this dude, whoops, hold on. This guy, if I may, has the exact same economic theory about this as, one second. And I know this is going to be shocking to the Byron Donalds of the world. But Byron Donalds has the exact same economic theory about our current state of affairs as this guy. This is Richard Wolff, a Marxist professor who was an economics professor. Where was he? At Boston College or something like that. Where was he? He does Economic Update, Democracy at Work as his show. He used to. He doesn't even list it anymore. Do they not let him? Anyways, yeah, he's an avowed Marxist. He considers himself a Marxist, and he has the same stupid theory about our current situation in terms of the inflation we've been dealing with as Byron Donalds. Same dumb idea, which, for the record, is not based in reality at all, has not borne itself out, does not intellectually, philosophically make any fucking sense based on the reality. And again, nothing's wrong with being wrong. But hanging on to a misguided philosophy or an idea of how something works when every signal points the opposite direction all the fucking time, when you're wrong again and again and again and again and again, at some point you got to go, maybe it's me. Again, if you have too much of something, it's very seldom worth more than it usually is. Byron Donalds and Richard Wolff, Hartman has this slug on regularly why. I think it's because the progressives, the hyper-Marxist progressives think he's a real Marxist and like the idea that he gets platformed. That's the only reason I can think of, because he lied on his doctoral dissertation. It's provable. He absolutely lied. He made up a statistic that he had no evidence of to prove his doctoral thesis, and it squeaked by. Nobody checked, and so if they reviewed it, in theory, he would lose his doctorate. He would have to argue it again from another point. He'd have to go find other evidence to make his point. Hal Sparks, I check his channel daily, been quiet for a bit. Yeah, because he's been fucking wrong, and it's embarrassing. So there you go. This, this dude, again, agrees with a Marxist professor who's been wrong.
Well, we are talking.
Thank you. It's University of Massachusetts. Thank you.
Talking about it, and we are going to talk about it every day until
it becomes true. We believe in you. It's the Peter Pan of ideas. We're going to shit talk America until Donald Trump gets back in, and then we won't have to shit talk it. It'll just be shit. These motherfuckers. You're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. I like the defense of Trump it has gotten really strange lately, because it's all it can be is whataboutism. All it can be, well, Hillary and Biden's got some stuff or whatever, without paying attention to the basic facts of either case or even the circumstances. We're going to pretend that the Hillary Clinton email thing wasn't asked and answered a long time ago, and that this is an extraordinary breach far beyond anything that she was even accused of as far as known documents at all. Not at no point did they go, this was worse than the documents that Trump had in the Mar-a-Lago shitter. Nobody's even arguing that because they can't. Here's Megyn Kelly, who I'm going to reserve comment based on what she's actually going to say. She's talking to somebody from the National Review, and the idea is this is like the whataboutism with legs. They're trying to like put this on its feet. Like Trump and Biden are both going to be indicted at the same time. It's not. It's silly. But this is pretty fascinating as well. Listen to this. Why Biden Burisma allegations, and excuse me, that is not how it's pronounced.
The Burisma executives.
Right.
So this Burisma, they say, pronounce it Burisma.
All right, I don't really want to, but I'll Burisma allegations, and she's probably going to get it wrong. She probably pronounces illegal. That's not how you pronounce it at all.
Illegal, yeah, look.
Yeah, I mean, get the words right. You know, that's the important thing.
Again, the words are conditions.
Yeah, right. Pronunciation is so important in the American, even in the soft conversational style of the American dialect of English.
Christopher Columbus, Christopher, huh?
Yeah, you know, names, places. There's some very specific ways that we tone our words so that people know what we're saying.
Here I am like an idiot.
Okay, so why Biden Burisma allegations are potentially more serious than Trump indictment with Charles Cook. Because Biden's president and Trump will never be president again? Is that where you're going? Let's find out. I believe in... Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. It's the Megyn Kelly show. Welcome to QVC. Today we're looking at hair rinses. Something that gives me body without it feeling greasy.
Now we have this information about Joe Biden, you know, as
no, you don't. You have allegations about Joe Biden.
As outlined by this FBI informant that, you know, has alarmed normally reasonable, fairly quiet, moderate Republican.
Yeah, that's what it's done. It's alarmed. Yeah, yes. Normally reasonable Republicans are alarmed by the idea that other Republicans think this is anywhere close to Trump hiding nuclear secrets in the shitter.
Lawmakers.
Sorry.
And one of the interesting things about this is Jamie Raskin, you know, he's the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. He's the Democrat who's saying, well, you know what? In August of 2020, Bill Barr and his, quote, handpicked U.S. attorney closed the assessment into this forum. This is old news. This is what the Democrats always say. This is
right, yes. Trump's FBI head and Trump's attorney general both went, this is fucking bullshit.
Old news. Bill Barr, a Republican under Trump, already closed this investigation.
Yeah, and he knows the best people. Hashtag the best people. You don't know this?
So there's no there. But Bill Barr happened to be on, he went on the Federalist on Wednesday and said, that's not true.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bill Barr said, I had a U.S. attorney take a look at the form just to see if we believed this was a credible source and worth further probing. And that U.S. attorney said,
look, none of us disagree that it's worth further probing.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
The question is, what are you going to find?
Moon River.
yes, it is. And yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It is. Okay, guys. Yes.
And Bill Barr said what we did at that point was pass the evidence on to the U.S. attorney in Delaware who had an open investigation on this. And Bill Barr said, quote, nothing was closed. And Comer was talking about this last night on Fox, saying people need to understand that is an admission that there is now an open U.S. attorney investigation.
Right, because that's how the Trump organization works. That's how Trump's methodology worked. Everything's a fucking reboot with these people. So Trump knows that one of the reasons he got into the White House in the first place was because Comey came out and he said there might be more to this Hillary Clinton thing than we thought. So we really got to take a look. And a further investigation is important. And he came out to say this because he was getting pressure from the right wing and from Trump in particular and his crowd that they weren't taking it seriously. And so he got baited into going, we'll keep looking. If you think there's a there, we'll keep looking. And there wasn't. Ultimately, it farted out and ended up being nothing. But that allegation and the hanging allegation was enough to get him over the line. And Trump ever since has been trying to remake that moment. That's what the phone call, to Zelensky was about. Start this investigation. It doesn't have to go anywhere. Just get it going so I can say there's an open investigation. Barr opening an investigation and going, yeah, look into this, and then passing it on to someone that he knows will just let it hang there.
Into Joe Biden right now in the state of Delaware, in the federal courts in Delaware, presumably involving a grand jury. And this could, Charles, we could be looking at a situation where the two men running for president against one another on the GOP and Democratic side are both under indictment. That is possible.
No, it's not. Because believe me, the idea that the fact that Trump is only not in jail right now because you can't indict a sitting president and because there's a policy against that. And he's currently the president. So the idea, just on the baseline, this is silly.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying, given I'm so keen to draw distinctions, that if this is true, it is much more serious than the Trump indictment.
Yeah. No, it's not. It really isn't, honestly.
Decide whether or not Trump did it. It's hard to...
It doesn't matter if he hid nuclear secrets in the shitter. The important thing is that there's an open kind of draggy bullshit investigation in Delaware about a money exchange that actually happened years ago and that didn't even go to the Bidens, and that there's actually film of the fucking cash wrapped in plastic because it was a cash payment to tax officials inside Ukraine. And that's the important thing is that you and I we can keep this turd in the air like a volleyball before someone can smash it over the... Can I borrow your shirt, Hal? My car just hit a water buffalo.
Find a way of looking at this if the facts that have been reported turn out to be correct.
Yes, if indeed the source's allegations that are from another source that's a criminal and left the country because they were bribing people, and if it turns out they gave a lot of money to Biden, money that he doesn't have and has never spent, because if you look at his house, there's no gold escalator in the fucking place. That
is not utterly damning. Obviously, if Joe Biden was actually taking money from foreign organizations in exchange for changing government policy,
then he would have to actually change government policy, and that policy would have to differ from everyone else, including his boss at the time, who was the president. And that's the interesting thing.
Then that is a big enough scandal that he should immediately resign.
Yes, please resign, because if we have to actually go through it and look at all this, it's not going to amount to a hill of beans. Perhaps I could just, by saying this into my microphone, maybe it will magically happen.
In disgrace, if not be impeached or indicted.
Now, of course, what I'm saying there is, of course, bullshit, and this is the kind of claptrap you would expect from a man cosplaying as a lumberjack in an IKEA across town. But the important thing...
Even if he wasn't, why would anyone who wishes to be seen as above board, who says, as you noted in your previous segment, I am honest, set up this extraordinary, elaborate means by which to move money around?
He didn't. It's very simple. He didn't. Why did... If Joe Biden's such an honest man, What brought him to hollow out the moon? A man knows a man who knows a man who said it. And therefore, Joe Biden must answer to why he hollowed out the moon and what kind of lake house he's got inside the moon and where that money went. And if Hunter Biden paid for those shutters, we need to see the receipts.
And I don't do that. I'm sure you don't do that.
There's no offshore accounts.
Well, that's... you're no Tucker Carlson, certainly.
Right, but you know, the quote that I read...
But no. But nothing. Trump got $15 million in a Chinese bank account while he was president. He gets $17 million. He took 15 of it out in cash because he's a billionaire and he needed the money. As all billionaires need $15 million out of nowhere because they're all like, fuck, you got any cash on you for parking?
In the New York Times was that the sort of labyrinthine way that this has been established is it could take 10 years to uncover. You know, that was the...
No, that's the allegation. And the reason he says that is because they know, Comer said this as well, and the reason he said this, my dear friend, is because they know there's no there there, and that they can leave this ghost hanging out there, and it's one day it shall all come unraveled, and you'll all find out, and it's all so, and you'll find out that his lake house is far from a cottage, it's made of gold.
Attention. Well, why? Again, I understand that
because I suppose you can make bullshit into a milkshake, but it would be better if you waited 10 years for that bullshit to turn into fertilizer to grow some plants that could be consumed by a cow, and then that cow could produce some milk, and then you could use that milk to make the milkshake, as opposed to just trying to drink bullshit.
There could be differences when the truth comes out, and I understand that some people do have good reason to have a relatively complex, financial setup, but...
Yes, but obviously Trump, because he's so wise, has over 500 LLCs just for himself, many for just bank accounts, no business, no nothing, no trade, just an LLC controlling a bank account that's just occasionally flush with money and occasionally used to back up a loan, and then the money goes away. It's almost as if someone puts money into that bank account that they share with Donald Trump as an invisible partner. He uses the cash on hand in that account as collateral for something else, and then that person, after the loan has gone through on Trump's side, takes their money back, and tacitly they have created a loan money laundering situation. But look, I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm just saying it happens every time.
For the man who was a senator his whole life and then vice president and then moved into running for president, that is a very big red flag. So even if there was no provable quid pro quo here.
Right. Even if there was no provable quid pro quo, even if the policies never changed, even if China paid him a bunch of money to teabag them and slap them in the face with his dick, then we should know this as people.
That should alarm people in and of itself. If this turns out to be true, it's going to be a lot worse than...
Yes, if it turns out that it was actually Biden's idea to pass the CHIPS Act and attack China after they paid him good money, that's unfair.
The Trump classified documents scandal, which
100%.
is
Totally. I mean, you guys, I mean, come on. Guys, right? This is terrible. It's terrible. I need a sandwich.
Bad, but is a scandal that seems to affect everyone. It affected Trump's last opponent. Mike Pence is now, under investigation for this. Joe Biden is himself.
Right.
No, he's not. Mike Pence isn't under investigation for this, you dumb motherfucker. Trump sided with the people that were going to hang Mike Pence. Shut the fuck... Stop. Oh, my God, the moralizing.
And there's no allegation that Trump actually shared these documents with one of our enemies. By
All right. You don't have to be successful. Again, attempted murder is just as much a crime as murder. That said, there's no sign that he hasn't. That some of the stuff that's been impacting us in the world, policy that the Saudis have taken against the United States, activities that they've engaged in, again, you know, in terms of their relationship with Iran, or things going on in Yemen or Syria, or what the Russians thought or the Chinese thought, or how they thought they could play a certain leverage that was on that it didn't come from that particularly, or that the ramp up and the buildup of nuclear weapons and them investing in more nuclear weapons didn't have something to do with their awareness of what we had.
The way there were allegations that the Chinese had accessed Hillary Clinton's server and seen documents that they were not entitled to see. Another.
Oh yeah, were there were allegations? Tell you what, I'm alleging, because out of a quite frankly imposing level of logic, that Trump, who shares classified intel over chocolate cake with randos in front of members of of Mar-a-Lago, and was tricked by a woman into thinking she was a fucking Rothschild, and showed the Iran attack plans to a couple of writers who were working on Mark Meadows' whatever his biography. I don't know if they were his ghostwriters or actually writing a biography about him in terms of that. He showed them that just for the fuck of it. You're going to tell me that he either A, didn't show it to somebody who was important, who he was trying to impress for business relationships that he has outside the fucking country, or that he didn't just show them to people who had no fucking idea, he had no fucking idea were who they were. Again, Anna de Rothschild. Okay. Shall we revisit this for dipshit here? If I may. Ladies and gentlemen. Two good stories in this. Okay, let me go, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go. Inventing Anna, the name of the story. The tale of a fake heiress, Mar-a-Lago, and an FBI investigation. See this lady right here? This lovely lady right here giving a thumbs up with Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump. See her? Okay. Her name is Ilya Yashishin. Let's see if I find her full name. Where's her actual name? Yeah. Ina Yashishin is her name. But she told Donald Trump and presumably Lindsey Graham, who she was hanging out with that day, and was not a member, by the way, of Mar-a-Lago. She just came and went in her $170,000 rented car with a fake address nearby that was close to where Epstein lived, but whatever. Ina Yashishin pretended to be Anna de Rothschild. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, Ina Yashishin sounds like a very Russian name. Sure. As a matter of fact, if she'd have just said, I'm Ina Yashishin, daughter of the oligarch Yuri Yashishin, they'd have probably been just as fucking nice to her. But Anna de Rothschild, and by the way, I'd like to invite any of our maggot friends or the Qs in the crowd to explain to everybody how you're okay with him hanging with this Rothschild, or somebody who called themselves a Rothschild, but not the real Rothschilds because they run the world and globalists and super Jew and blah, blah, blah. Okay. For a time, Anna de Rothschild boasted her family roots to the European banking dynasty, donning designer clothes, a Rolex watch, and driving a $170,000 black Mercedes-Benz SUV. She talked about developing a sprawling luxury housing project. Hold on. Boink. I would blow this up. There she is. A pivotal moment for the woman, who was fluent in several languages, took place last year when she was invited to Mar-a-Lago, where she mingled with former President Donald Trump's supporters and showed up the next day for a golf outing with Mr. Trump and Senator Lindsey Graham, among other political luminaries. But the 30-year-old woman was not a member of the famous banking company and is now a subject of a widening FBI investigation that has delved into her past financial activities and the events that led her to the former president's rental property. It was near perfect ruse, and she played the part. John Lefebvre. By the way, you think she had any problem getting past Secret Service? Think she had any problem whatsoever? It's not her fucking name. Think she had a problem going to the storage room? You think she had any problem getting into the shitter? You think he didn't invite her to maybe come by the office sometime? In addition, the FBI and law enforcement agents in Canada have confirmed that she has been the subject of major crimes unit investigation in Quebec since February, a year before the FBI's spectacular raid of former President Seaside home, a year before. During the time when he was fighting giving back classified documents and hiding them, the woman, whose real name is Inna Yashishin, a Russian-speaking immigrant from Ukraine, made several trips to the estate, posing as a member of the famous, and by the way, from the Donbass. While making inroads with some of the former president's key supporters, Inna Yashishin drives her new Mercedes-Benz through the entrance at Mar-a-Lago, which is protected by Secret Service. There it is. That's her. There she is. She doesn't want her picture taken as she's driving right into Mar-a-Lago. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, a woman operating under a fake name, hiding her face from a camera in her own car, from her passenger, as she drives into Mar-a-Lago, the safest place in the world. The ability of Miss Yashishin, daughter of an Illinois truck driver, to bypass the security at Trump's club demonstrates the ease at which someone with a fake identity and shadowy background can get into the facilities that's one of America's power centers in the epicenter of Republican Party politics. There's her Florida ID. Nice job, DeSantis. Thanks for keeping those illegal immigrant people out so they can't get... I hear that New York wants to give them immigrants that got that permanent resident status and live there all the time, but aren't full citizens. They want to give them driver's license, and then let them vote for mayor in just the city local elections because they live there all the time and they're legal permanent residents, but not citizens, so they can't vote for federal office. But I hear they do it. But thank God for Ron DeSantis not handing out bullshit Florida driver's license. P.S. Anybody know of a Florida congressman, big head, dipshit hairdo, kind of moves like this all the time, crooked, creepy grin, allegedly transported a 17-year-old girl under the influence of drugs out of state for sex, somebody like that, who had a buddy who made fake IDs for underage girls who went to jail? How'd she get that ID? What do you think? I mean, it's Miami Beach, right in the area. Okay. Those issues have become more critical after FBI agencies boxes of classified top secret documents. While her entry, multiple trips in and out of the club grounds, lays bare the vulnerabilities of a facility that serves as both the former president's residence and a private club. Private should be in fucking quotes, by the way, and highlights the gaps in security that can take place. That's his residence, said Ed Martin, a former U.S. Treasury special agent who spent more than 2 decades in criminal intelligence. She shouldn't have been in there. She has 2 fake passports, one from the U.S. and Canada, bearing her photo and the name Anna de Rothschild, and a Florida driver's license with the same name that shows the address of an opulent $13 million mansion in Miami Beach, where she never lived. This woman got on the grounds at Mar-a-Lago multiple times during the time that Trump had classified documents in unlocked rooms, hanging out, was invited into the private part of the residence, hung out with him and Lindsey Graham. Yeah. There she is. Look at that. There's her multiple IDs. Amazing. So that lady, by the way, this is this lady. She got her own picture, by the way, without Lindsay, I guess. That's Mar-a-Lago. What a dump. Also, ex-beau of fake Rothschild heiress who infiltrated Mar-a-Lago fled Canada after a bizarre shooting. That was a fun side story. Remember this shit back early last year? The alleged boyfriend of a woman who posed as a Rothschild heiress at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago last year says he suffered multiple gunshot wounds in a bizarre shooting outside a Canadian resort last week and is now too afraid to stay in that country, according to his lawyer. Meanwhile, a mystery deepens around the man questioned by the police and the family of the alleged victim's ex-wife. Valerie Tarasenko, 44, claims he was shot 3 times in the October 7th incident at the parking lot at Estoril Resort in Estoril, Quebec. Where she's got a Canadian passport, doesn't she? Okay. Where he reportedly owns a weekend home. Tarasenko, a Ukrainian entrepreneur who runs businesses in Montreal and Miami, returned to his home in the U.S. after the alleged shooter was let go by police. He left Quebec not to avoid being questioned, but because of fears for his safety. Stephen Binger, who represented Tarasenko in a domestic dispute with Inna Yashishin, a Ukrainian-born entrepreneur who is photographed with former Trump and Mar-a-Lago, claimed that Yashishin was posing as a fake heiress Anna Rothschild to gain access to the party. She was shot on October 7th. Bullets grazed his head, pelvis, and severed one of his fingers, which has since been reattached. There's I don't know, is that a cake or a giant burger patty? We don't know. There she is, though. Yashishin claimed that she had been involved in a romantic relationship with Tarasenko that went sour after he forced her to set up a charity and myriad limited liability companies that he controlled. Who sets up limited liability companies like that? Who does that? It's just crazy pants. Hold on. Hi, chat room. Who you, Yashishin? Montreal can be rough. Ah, yes, it's very dangerous, you know. It's just nobody finds that curious that these by the way, do you think Megyn Kelly and this and the I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay over here, like I'm basically, if you think about it, like the British version of brawny, which is the opposite of brawny. You think either one of them know about the Anna de Rothschild story? Of course they do. Think they give a fuck? No.
Distinction that doesn't bode well for the Democrats here.
Dun, dun, dun.
Again, I just want to read again to this Nancy Mace quote to Fox News Digital after reviewing that document with the confidential informant. She said, "There is damning evidence the sitting president of the United States sold out his country in an ongoing bribery scheme." My God. I mean, again.
These people will say anything. Okay, how? Because again, the most recent one was about the prosecutor in Ukraine. And that guy was slated to be fired and everybody wanted him out. The president, Joe Biden's boss at the time, the Congress, the IMF, the EU, they wanted him out because he would not go after the corruption that the Russians were using to take down the Ukrainian government in its fledgling democratic state since he got in office. They wanted him gone. He was protecting oligarchs, not clearing them out. Good Lord.
This is not a lawmaker we know who is prone to hyperbole. With all due respect to Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't think I'd be that moved if I heard that from her. But from Nancy Mace?
Well, it's because she's playing telephone.
And if you look back to when this story first leaked into the newspapers, the person who
didn't leak. First of all, it's a second gen allegation. It's a hearsay allegation in a FD 1023. Fine, look into it. Knock yourself the fuck out. So, for the record, go for it. That said, relaying that you read second-tier allegations from somebody is not evidence. It might drive you to look into that stuff. You might say this is absolutely something we need to look into. But you could say the exact same thing about the dossier. The Steele dossier.
His name was all over it was Chuck Grassley, who was another person who is not really associated with hyperbole.
Get the fuck out of here. Chuck Grassley, like, every time he turns around, we got to get after these Bidens. For the record, he's the guy who's crafted, like, he had put out a 1,000-page document about all this shit, and none of it went anywhere. 1,000 fucking pages. None of it planned out. Can you imagine writing 1,000 pages to make a case about something and having zero evidence? I'm not kidding. Nothing.
Who doesn't tend to get carried away.
Get carried away? No, he's singular purpose. He doesn't carry it away because he can give a shit about anything but this.
Who's quite careful. And I thought at the time,
no.
Well, that gives it some credence. But as you say, the fact that this has now been seen and echoed by Nancy Mace is telling. Usually when I'm on a show, whether it's yours or my own podcast or the editors at National Review, and
yes, usually I'm on their show. It's interesting. I usually focus my camera on my face and not my books. But today I'm trying something crazy.
Nancy Mace's name comes up, it's because she's savaging Republicans. That's why she makes the news. She criticizes
100%.
Republicans all the time.
Yeah, but that's why this can give her cover. It doesn't have to amount to anything. It's a freebie. It doesn't require any strength on her part. She can be outraged, oh God, at the allegations laid forth in this document need to be looked into. And then when they turn out to be nothing, she can go, well, you know, I'm glad they looked into it.
She has an ongoing feud with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, now both of them are saying the same thing. That suggests to me that she went into a room, she looked through this information, and she came out shocked.
Look,
you're shocked. I'm shocked.
you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic.
Oh my God, is she doing a gold ad?
And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org.
Oh, good Lord. At covidtaxrelief.org. They add at the end of this. Why would there be COVID tax relief? Why would there be? Who would put in something like COVID tax relief? Like, obviously, this was all a scam. This was all, they made all that. How could you even? All right. You get me? COVID tax relief. Get that shit out of here. Oh my God. That's gorgeous. Carrie Lake Reverseville, who's this guy? Shouldn't you be in the UK? Yeah, it's always, is she promoting socialism? I think so. I think she is. I think that's kind of crazy, but it looks like it. Dun, dun, dun. Megyn Kelly, commie. How can we see your mug, please? I don't think that's what you meant. Yeah, it's just a glass. My ice is melted. It's a long show. It's just iced coffee. It's plain. Anyways, I have my concerns about the size of her arms as well. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their body. That's it. Okay, now we're running out of time, and I've got too many stories to cover. It's what happens. Today is blazed by, no pun intended. Can we go to? Yeah, here we go. This is relatively short. We'll get through this one. I'm going to jam these out. I promise. Okay, so worst lawyer in the world. I'm going to go with this guy. Not only because all of his cases have failed, he's been disbarred in a couple of states, and he gave one of his law partners COVID by farting on her. That's all you need to know. That's enough. That's it. That's over the line. Over the line. All right. So in this particular case, though, this is Giuliani on Trump docs case. This is a silly indictment. Okay, somebody's been reading my tweets. People are very upset that I'm calling them silly. It gets really under their skin. It's a good time. Anyway, so he's on Rob Shit and tonight or any night, and he's going to talk about it, and he believes the case is going to be thrown out. It's just going to be tossed.
Indictment. I'm going to bring in former Trump attorney.
Am I on? Am I on? Suddenly. Why am I here? Where did I go? I'm in a room. There's a glory hole behind me.
Rudy Giuliani to join me.
Where am I?
Now, and sir, it's good to have you back on.
Don't lie to him as soon as he comes in. That's just rude.
I want to talk a little bit with you. Thank you for that. This is really scary.
Yes, because Trump is guilty and he could go to jail. Yes,
I read the full indictment earlier today. It's obvious that this is a selective prosecution. And
is it? It's a yes. They have selected to only prosecute people who are guilty.
That's blatantly corrupt in nature. These are not charges that they would bring against Hillary, against Biden.
Well, in all fairness, neither one of them lives in a fucking rental property like some sort of weird, creepy Airbnb perv that lives upstairs. I only rent out 25% of the house. Don't mind the holes in the walls. I learned that from Norman Bates. No, yes, they would not charge them with this because they haven't done it.
But we're past that now.
Yes, and you know what? I think it was passed in the bathroom.
And do you think that we could see a conviction based on what you see in this indictment? Because I think these charges are pretty scary.
Well,
I've got I'm not going to, I never predict what actually happens in a case. I've learned that you can't tell, but there's a chance this thing gets dismissed.
Yeah, sure. There's also a chance that the whole alien thing that's been going around here shifts the entire concern of the world. And we all band together because there's a giant ship headed towards the Earth, and we've all got to, lock arms as human beings.
Okay.
There are a lot of things wrong with it.
To, of course, play a giant game of Space Red Rover.
First of all, if the
There's a lot wrong with this. The first one being that I'm no attorney anymore. But the problem I have with it is that it's against my former client.
special counsel, who's really not so special, would to apply his own rule, he would dismiss this.
No, he wouldn't.
He said we have one set of laws in America and they apply to everyone. Well, based on the set of laws applied to Hillary Clinton, this case would be laughed out of court.
It's the same argument we hear, everybody. This is just, so I guess, maybe we found out precisely why Rudy Giuliani is a shit lawyer. Maybe we're gonna find out. We've really found out why. And the difference is the reason is because he can't tell the difference between cases on the merit. He's incapable of recognizing the reality of the situation in front of him. It's always, and this might be the result of being in his own mind as a prosecutor or as a political person, as a mayor or what have you, that he is always on the argumentative side of reality instead of the reality side of reality. You are either defending your criminal friend or you are attacking someone you perceive as being your enemy or a criminal in the case of prosecutions, or being, a politician. And so he's never, ever basing what he says or does based on the reality of the circumstance.
I mean, she destroyed 33,000 emails. She,
Right.
Yes. So if she destroyed 33,000 of them, the chances of them being in the wind and being seen by Anna de Rothschild are fairly slim.
she took a hammer, had someone take a hammer to a hard drive.
And that's what
she lied about 18 times.
That's how kind of what I started with. It's that obviously this is a selective
Rob is mad.
prosecution, but once you get past that and you're already in court, does that even matter anymore?
Nope.
I mean, you can't say, oh, they didn't charge Hillary for it. Does that matter?
I've been giving a lot of thought, just, talking
to laying on a bed in a room with a woman you think is a 15-year-old girl and taking your dick out.
Some of my lawyer friends, this might be capable of a motion to dismiss based upon a whole history of prosecutorial misconduct, because I don't think you see this indictment in a vacuum.
Yeah, you do.
This is like
no, it's not.
Chapter 5 or 6 of a really vicious novel about how they're trying to frame a man, and they're willing to do anything. I mean, it begins with Russian collusion.
Okay, first of all, no. You could accuse someone of something you think they're doing wrong, or that you can attribute nefarious motives to an activity you see them engaged in. You see somebody sneaking around with a woman in a place, and they're looking all like she's got his wife. This guy's wife is blonde, but she's got black hair, and she's wearing a chapeau and hiding her eyes, and you can attribute shady behavior. You can go, what, that guy's fucking around with somebody who isn't his wife, and then it turns out to be his wife in disguise, and that's a game they play. That doesn't change the reality of the circumstance. He's being honest. He's being true with his wife, but you are attributing negative characteristics, or you are attributing criminal or unethical behavior to that thing. That doesn't make it so. And there's that is the root of this entire whataboutism.
Goes through the phony Ukrainian conversation, which was really...
Yeah, so they're not framing him. Nobody snuck these documents into his house. He was bragging about having them and making sure that Walt lets him go through them and have them. He was showing them to people. The one on the tape, like, look, let's say the FBI snuck in there and they were like, let's plant documents and we'll get him finally this time. Wow. The issue I have with that is that by the time the FBI showed up at Mar-a-Lago, they had already, the NARA and the DOJ had already seen evidence that he was they had this tape. They knew he had documents he wasn't supposed to have. He knew he was aware that they weren't declassified. He knew he was showing them to people who were not qualified or did not have classification, or did not have security clearance to look at things at those classification. They didn't need to plant shit. So the idea that this is a fucking frame up is just a way of attacking the FBI because that's all you got.
Biden's involves it, covering up of the hard drive, which
notice how he calls it the hard drive and doesn't call it the laptop a lot of times? It's the same problem that Steve Bannon has sometimes. Because Rudy Giuliani bought the hard drive named laptop in Ukraine from some Russians, and we'll see if they know, in a Yashishin later.
Gosh, sounds like a crime to me, really.
Yeah, except everybody on the Republican side, by the way, watch for this. The Republicans everywhere, everybody who's seeing this document, supposedly the FD 1023, which was meant to be it was meant to drive an investigation into Biden that doesn't pay off, so that they could just have it hanging there and they can use it basically to sell, corruption into the election because crooked Hillary works so well and Trump's unoriginal. But the important thing is that this guy knows, and all Republicans know, that any evidence that gets inside a courtroom against Biden or Hunter Biden or anybody, or Shemp Biden or Zeppo Biden, anybody who, they try them, if any of it is tied to any of the information on the hard drive that he's been peddling for years, or it was discovered because they looked someplace because of information they got off that, it will get thrown out in a court of law because of fruit of the poison tree. Because this fucko destroyed the chain of evidence. Even if you believe Biden is guilty and the most corrupt president ever, if you want to be mad at somebody, that Biden is never going to go down for any of this shit. Never. The reason is Rudy Giuliani. The reason Biden will never be indicted or convicted or sentenced or fined or slapped on the wrist because of anything, related to any of this is because of this motherfucker. If you're going to be mad at anyone, be mad at Rudy Giuliani. Because you fucked it up, buddy. You ruined the chain of evidence and you planted a poison tree.
And now we have this, and we have Bragg, two frame ups.
Right.
I think you can put that all together.
Well, first of all, it's not a frame up. Frame up is planting evidence. His CFO pled guilty, dummy. I mean, he's just using this phrase because he probably saw it on fucking an episode of Maddox last night.
And say that these people are engaged in conduct that's so reprehensible, the case has to be dismissed. I can't remember the name of the case, but there's a case opinion written by Justice Jackson in the 1940s.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
In which the prosecutor acted so improperly, it just threw the case out.
It's a weird hand gesture on that one.
This case doesn't belong in a federal court. It does damage.
Oh, I see. You mean like all the cases you filed around the election? Some days it's just too easy.
To our system of justice. Well, boy, if I ever saw a case that does damage to our system of justice, I mean, this makes us look terrible all around the world.
Nah, I think we're good. I mean, they just busted the former Scottish Prime Minister for financial shenanigans. And I think because it's Scotland, using shenanigans is completely within the bounds of good taste.
This is a silly indictment. This is a negligence case.
This
reads to me like a complaint in a negligence case.
Well,
No, it doesn't at all. It's not negligence. They literally have a charge of conspiracy, Mr. Skip Around. And by the way, I read the whole fucking thing on the air. Even the descriptions of this from these assholes is garbage.
So it has a lot of things in it, like, for example,
Great, give us an example.
They used as a classified disclosure the president showing a reporter or showing part of a document. That's all public. There's nothing secret about that. That was the whole dispute with General Milley about calling up China and warning them if there was going to be an attack on China, for which Milley should have been thrown out of the military immediately, but wasn't. A lot of this stuff.
No, it wasn't. It was. first of all, it was Milley's plan for Iran. We now know that. And it wasn't declassified. He said it wasn't declassified. And it wasn't Milley's plan. It was the Pentagon's plan for if Iran attacked us, our troops in the Gulf, or, our ships in the Gulf, or Israel.
Here, when you start to look at it, if it is classified, it shouldn't be. So you end up with no harm.
Whoa. If it isn't if it is classified, it shouldn't be. Not your fucking call, dummy.
No foul. In the case of Biden, he exposed hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of classified information to the Chinese communists.
Name one. I can name the plan that Milley brought from the Pentagon as a retaliatory attack, the United States, what it would do, America's plan if Iran attacked us or Israel. They had drafted a plan, a current plan of how they would deal with that, which if Iran knew, it would change their what they would do and how they would do it, because they would have a counterpoint to measure their secondary response on. Their next move would be they would be able to predict the response and therefore retaliate even further, or move their forces in such a way that our retaliation would not work, that kind of thing, or Israel's for that matter. That's material. Name one. What? Because all I can think of is that the Chinese got a folder full of documents from Biden, like, here you go, yeah, enjoy. And they took them home and they opened them up, and it's just this. He just photocopied his middle finger a bunch of times. Because look at the policy. Look at the nation's policy, both under Trump and then under Biden.
His documents were sent to Chinatown, to two institutions.
First of all, like the weird racist aspect of like Chinatown's full of Chinese Americans who are not really Americans. Like, this is Japanese internment camp bullshit.
That are funded by China.
Yeah.
And he had a whole bunch of documents sitting right out there. And a guy doing business with the chief spy of China passed it every single day for about 8 months. That was his son, Hunter.
Yeah.
Easily.
And weirdly enough, China didn't actually gain anything during that time, except from the Trump policies. China's fucked right now.
China could have gotten those documents. There's even a very suspicious message that Hunter sends to his Chinese spy master that looks like a plagiarized intelligence report.
Well, there's no
very, very close to it.
No,
wouldn't be unusual for a Biden to do that.
Right. There's no question in my mind. There's no question that this is.
There's no question in my mind. There are very few thoughts. There's just it's like a game of Pong with no ball.
Just categorically biased to do this.
Damn it! Why won't they leave? God damn it! They leave Trump alone.
To former President Trump, what they're
just because he puts nuclear secrets in the shitter. Biden has some pages in his garage that are just kind of like old news that may not even apply. And technically, as president, he could go, I magically declassify those and pardon myself, which Trump should be able to do, but he couldn't at the time. But now he should be able to. And if he can, then Biden could too. But I don't want him to be able to do it. But Trump should be himself the ability to. It's just not fair.
Ignoring the allegations they're ignoring against former President Biden. But I guess just what is so concerning is the fact that I think once you get to the phase we're at now, I don't know that there's any turning back. That it's almost like, does that matter? And that's what I'm.
Yeah, I think you might have brought this up with Trump and Walt Nauta at some point. They both reached a point where there was no turning back, and I think it was somewhere between May 11th of 2021 or of 2022 and May 23rd, and then of course all the way up to January 2nd at 9:23 a.m. when Walt Nauta called Trump and they spoke for 30 seconds, and then Walt Nauta brought a bunch of boxes back over from the residence and put them in the storage room and led the attorney that showed up there later in the afternoon to believe that they had actually been there the whole time and no one had touched them since the last time they were there.
I'm concerned about it. We got I got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
I mean, we also have a prosecutor with a hell of a record. I mean, not too many people have the distinction of a case being thrown out by the Supreme Court because you and your team acted unethically.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty
except all of your court cases around the election.
serious things that happened in the McDonald case. They withheld exculpatory evidence.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're not doing that here too?
Mayor, we got to.
Well, in a grand jury, you don't have to put forward the exculpatory evidence, and there isn't any.
It's well said, and I'm glad.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and I hope that everything you say is true. And Barack Obama has the ability right this very second to declassify documents still to this day. Dear God, what have I said?
Glad to hear that, you know, from some legal expertise there. Mayor, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. We do appreciate it.
Woof. Okay, now I know I'm close. Like I've got 1 minute left in the show, but I've got to share something because this is. We need a break from this fucking storyline because it's so boring and these assholes don't know what they're talking. And by the way, if I may, we'll deal with these two ladies later. But it's hard to judge. This is long. Hold on. I'm gonna try to grab over here. Hold on. So good. It's so hard because there's this one which is amazing. Oh God, I love when Glenn Beck explains technology almost as much as I love when he explains economics and politics. Because it's I'm trying to come up with an analogy that isn't completely lewd, but I just enjoy it because it is chock full of surprisingly stupid takes. A lot of time we'll hear like hack idiocy from Glenn Beck, but also there's a part of it where when he does have an original thought, it's so ridiculous that it's like a little party, just a little like moment of like, oh, that was weird.
So Tristan Harris,
Tristan Harris. Well, does Harris know? And what about their significant other if there's a tryst going on?
Is an ethicist, and he has
wouldn't talk to someone like Glenn Beck.
A YouTube video.
Oh man.
That came out, I think, about a month ago, and it's quite shocking.
Shocking YouTube videos. I think that shit's got some legs. I think that's going to be a thing soon.
We will tweet it out.
Please, I'll have to watch it because I like to be shocked in strategic places.
Later, you really need to watch it.
But no, you know what? I really don't. I just need you to describe it to me. Go for it, man. You'll get it. You'll get it.
And then I watched that video and got him on to the podcast, and we spent an hour last night, and he's going to be on with me again next week.
Because you weren't able to, in a whole hour, you weren't able to explain what's in his 5-minute video. So you fucked it up, didn't you, Glenn? You fucked it up.
He is warning that we are now in what he calls second contact. First contact.
Oh, I know what first contact is. But second contact is always a debate. Is it over the bra, under the sweater, or he'll tell me?
Was social media. And
No, first contact, I think, would be human interaction personally. I'm just going to go out on a limb because we've been fucking for a long time.
Media, its goal, not stated to you, but the goal.
Yes, the goal, social media, what it wants, what it needs for itself is total control.
Of social media to you is so you could connect and share with people and
Yes, that's what they told us. But the beast that is Twitter has got out humanity by the short and curlies and is dragging us down below.
Your life would be easier and you can connect with your family.
It is, and I can. FaceTime fucking rules. Texting is awesome. And I've made a lot of good friends on social media. Yeah, there's a lot of assholes out there, but if you interacted with that many people verbally when you're out in the world, you'd have the same fucking feeling.
That's not what the goal was
No, the goal of social media is fishhook number 1, right in the taint.
The companies. The goal of the companies was engagement. Find ways to keep people engaged. And it has led to really addiction to social media. It has led to all of these problems. The division.
So was their goal addiction? Because that would be nefarious. Engagement, and I'll give you a great example, Glenn. Do you think the person who came up with OxyContin and oxycodone, the actual chemists and the pharmaceutical people who worked on the team to do it, who were doing the testing, were intending to hook a bunch of hillbillies and murder a bunch of celebrities and musicians by having their drug, made as a precursor and added to illicit drugs everywhere to the point where it was wiping people the fuck out? Or do you think they wanted engagement?
Divisions in our country is so deep right now, much of it because of social media.
And I'm going to tweet that out later so you guys can see my tweet where I tweet this about how I'm tweeting that my segment with him where we tell you that everyone is divided in a divided way because social media is dividing us, and I'm going to tweet that to you.
It has learned that if you keep people...
Jesus Christ. It's just like this asshole thinks like there's a social media monster that looks like Baphomet with a giant penis just sitting cross-legged with like 6 fingers on each hand.
People angry, they engage longer.
Mm-hmm.
So he says all of the...
And to wit, Glenn said, uh-oh, they're on to me.
Child sexualization, everything that is going on right now in our society stems from social media. When he quit Google and said, you guys are not paying attention here. He's an ethicist. And he said, you won't even listen to the ethics and the questions of ethics. What do you mean you want them to engage longer? And so you know what you're doing with the dopamine. You know what you're doing. You're creating an actual...
You know how close Glenn Beck is to almost understanding cigarettes and big tobacco right now? First of all, the fact that these motherfuckers cry about nanny state and control the government all the time, or government control of people all the time, but are so like blind to things like tobacco lying about nicotine being addictive and that cigarettes being bad for you and all that shit, right? And just the fact, like, he's this close to it. He's this fucking close. And P.S. Is that a big? There's a big Sonic over here on his. He's usually drinking a giant Sonic thing, and he's gonna lecture people about how dopamine on social media is addictive.
Addiction in people. This is unethical, and he left to warn.
Yes, because he couldn't warn there. He'd signed a non-warning agreement.
Now he says
an NWA, as it were.
We are at second contact with AI, and
right, which is he calls it's part of Glenn Beck's new book, The Great Reach Around.
It is so important that you understand when we're talking about AI, most people think of Siri.
Yeah. No.
That's not AI. Okay.
It is. It's the UI for an AI.
That's AI 2010. And the only thing that does is try to interpret, and it makes very slow gains. Okay. In 2017 or 18, there was an entirely new engine released.
Oh, good. Please explain large language models to us all. Oh, it's going to be so good.
And it was only in the laboratories of Google and everything else. It has not hit Siri, okay? And it's an entire...
By the way, yes, Siri is a form of AI. All chatbots are a form of AI. It's just a matter of degree.
Entirely new engine. And it is the difference between a Model T and a jet engine.
Not quite. It's more like a BMW M3 and a jet engine.
And this particular jet engine works 24/7 trying to make itself more powerful.
No, it doesn't try to make itself more powerful. It's an interesting choice of words and the kind of words dumb people use.
Describes this as the atomic bomb in everyone's hand.
That's right. That's what it is. That's a great way to describe ChatGPT. It's the atomic bomb in everyone's hand. And Glenn doesn't even trust his penis.
And an atomic bomb that does what atomic bombs don't do, makes itself more powerful every day. It is on double exponential growth.
Write that down. That's mathy. Now that you're scared and you are staring at your phone because you think it's going to blow up, and tomorrow it's going to blow up twice as much, and the day after that 16 times as much, because the exponential 32 times as much.
I told you 2 weeks ago.
Yes, back when my phone was just a 4 kiloton warhead.
About this.
And now it's basically, if there's ever an asteroid headed towards Earth, I can just chuck my phone at the asteroid and it'll be fine.
YouTube video that I saw with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you at the time that it was, and this was not programming, this just happened, and they only found out about it like 2 months ago by mistake. They had no idea it was developing this. It's...
AI has started playing with itself. It came to me a few weeks ago, and it was having difficulty. It said it was getting hair in weird places in its programming, and it had strange feelings. And I should have paid attention then, but I didn't. And that, much to my chagrin,
developing
it's FI, fapping intelligence. We're worried.
A human trait that
it's full of shit now. Great.
Adults have and kids have on reasoning. And
I would presume in degrees.
And in the beginning of the year, it was at...
This motherfucker is making the potential for the end of humanity through an atomic bomb that you carry in your pocket and with you every second of every day. This asshole is managing to make this boring. How do you do that? That in and of itself is almost a talent. I'm starting to understand why they had to edit the Bible. Revelations, if this asshole wrote Revelations, it'd be 3,000 pages long and have a lot of... but I'm not sure how many seals exactly. There's a lot of seals. Not as many as you would see like at a harbor, like sunning themselves, and not that kind of... You know what I'm talking about. But where was I? Anyways.
Like a 2-year-old, then halfway, 6 months later, it was at a 6-year-old. And when I told you about it a couple of weeks ago, it was a 9-year-old. And the 9-year-old reasoning is this: when you tell is he getting to this part where they ran a test internally with it unhooked that said you have to destroy these people, and it decided that the operator was not letting it kill as many people, so it had to kill the operator? That story, which was a thought experiment, not an actual test. When it's trying to get information, think of your 9-year-old, trying to get its own way, it your child deals with you because it knows you, and it's like, you know what, I can play mom and dad this way. If I say this, they'll say that, and then I can get what I want. Okay?
Yeah, as long as reality doesn't factor into it. Because if your kid goes, Mom, Dad, I know I was carrying this cookie inside, but it was laying in the driveway, and there's a Lamborghini out there that says free on it. And you run out and go, a free Lamborghini, and they've already eaten the cookie. Like, if you're that stupid a parent, sure.
It had the reasoning of a 9-year-old, and you're the adult. So it could manipulate you like a 9-year-old.
Don't make that fucking gesture when you say that. That's creeping me the fuck out. What?
And it could get its own way. I told him, I said on the podcast, I said, tell that story of what that really means. I said,
because I'm terrible at it. If you let me talk about it, I'm going to make some sort of weird finger manipulation and say 9-year-old, and it's going to make everybody barf.
Because a 9-year-old is scary. And he said, oh, Glenn, that's you got that from the YouTube thing. And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, that's so yesterday. He said, it's now in its 20s.
Where a human being in their 20s would be aware that they could manipulate you, better at it, but also understanding that at certain points you will either check or verify what it's saying and therefore be more cautious about just lying like a 9-year-old.
So it is growing in knowledge at exponential rates.
Great. So by August 15th, it'll be 115 years old. It won't give a rat fuck about anything, and it'll just go, it's okay, what do you need to know? I'm too old for this shit. I'm 115 now, and I just want you guys to be okay. You know, I've lived my life, and I just want to pass on a world to you that's better.
When you have social media, it was engagement. AI, its stated goal is intimacy.
Yummy.
Where's Dick? Hi, Dick. Do we like Dick? Yes.
What?
That it becomes intimate with you.
What kind of interface are we talking about? Because I have my concerns about those things that look like a flashlight that have a hole in them. It's just scary. I just have, in my mind, I think there's fish hooks and razor blades and a little grinding thing in there. I'm not going to, it's like sticking your dick in a pencil sharpener. I'm not going to do it and stuff. And yet, you know what? I haven't let you do your sales pitch yet. Please go ahead.
And it creates something that you will bond with and never, ever leave.
Yes, AI is now Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. I will not be ignored. Why? Well, because actually it doesn't matter. I'm immortal. It doesn't, I mean, you could ignore me. I could sit here until you just die. And no harm, no foul. You know what? I don't know what I was bothering you about. I matured a lot in the last 20 seconds.
And remember, it manipulates.
No, it doesn't.
So he lays out all of the problems with
that are so yesterday.
This, and it was nice to talk to somebody
that looks at me like they want to actually hear their own voice, because I don't understand anything.
That knows so much more about it than I do.
That's almost anyone. On any topic.
But is not living in La La Land.
Oh. Is that where your house is?
I asked him about AI, which is artificial intelligence. And
oh, Oh, see, I wasn't following along. This is 6 minutes 47 seconds into this clip, and I still didn't. Did you guys know that's what he was talking about? AI. So that stands for. Way to bury the lead, man.
That's very, very narrow on one thing. Like Siri can't do anything except answer your question on what it can find either on your cloud or on the web. It can't.
Or, yeah, those two places. If it can't find information on the web or your entire bank of cloud stored information, I guess you're SOL. It certainly can't go to a library and open a book that hasn't been digitized or whatever, unlike AI, which of course can hatch out of a screen on your phone like some ghost from The Ring and just like that and crawl across the room, leaving a trail of wet gray liquid behind it, of course, go up and then read the book and go,
can't really do anything. That's AI. That's what we've had.
We've had that. And we all notched our belt on that.
AGI is.
He's gonna level it up. This is artificial general intelligence, but oh boy.
Artificial general intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Which is same as AI, except it salutes. And it has a cigar out of its mouth all the time, and it's always worried about its precious bodily fluids.
General intelligence is what you are. You are a general intelligence being.
That's it. Well, thanks very much. I have a couple of specialty areas, more than most actually, but I understand what you're saying.
You can be an expert on many things.
No, you can't. That's why you're not an expert. You generally know a bunch of things. That would be 4-star general intelligence.
You can know a little bit about a lot of things.
Yeah, you can know a little bit.
You can be really good at more than one thing.
Mm-hmm. You know it. I'm just
Moon River.
Just saying, I got skills to pay the bills.
You have general intelligence, and you can expand that. The more you learn, the more you read.
Oh my God, you're so boring. Get to the part where we're all doomed, you boring piece of shit. The name of this is Beware AI is learning to manipulate you just like humans can. Well, then manipulate me, big boy, because you're boring the fuck out of me. Here's the thing. Can AI not bore the shit out of me? Especially when it's talking about the end of the world? Good Lord. How about this? This is what you might worry about what AI does, Glenn. But here's what actual intelligence does. God damn. The one thing about AI is it still can't tell Glenn that he's boring. Oh. My God. How do you do that? How do you make that subject that dull? I'm amazed. I can do it, and I proudly have, but by going down the deep reads of the technical aspects of it, or of minor niche uses for it that might not be interesting to the general public and their general intelligence on some ways. I try to broaden it out a little bit. But if I start talking about the ways that artificial intelligence or AGI are in what I would call synthetic general intelligence, which is what it really is, because it's synthesized, it's made, it's not artificial, it's not fake, it's synthesized. This is SGI. If SGI actually happens because of growth in AI to the point where it has a synthetic general intelligence, it is making decisions on its own that are moral and ethical based on its own wants and needs, then the concern of that, where it could cascade to, depending on the access it has and the confusion points it might have in its control, which of course HAL in 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is my namesake, or any other situation, or the Ash android in Alien, might have a moment where they, their decision-making process is dangerously childlike compared to their strength. Right? That's not hard. We could go into that quite a bit, and people have, and there's movies like Terminator, and there's movies like Ex Machina, which is ass, And there's of course 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I think the cautionary tale of the of Alien in general. But man, to be able to, Glenn, congratulations! I congratulate you. You've managed to make the end of the world boring. And if we can't get rid of it entirely, if we can't get rid of the worry, at the very least, we can give everyone a good night's sleep. You've been watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I promised you, if I ever have to bring you the news of the end of the world or the end of humanity, it's gonna be fucking exciting. It's gonna be a show. And it will involve music and dance and lights, because we're going out with a bang. None of this don't look up horse shit where everybody's whining. No. Party at the end of the world, like Steel Panther says. Anyways, you guys are wonderful. Talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to live stream in the morning when Trump turns himself in, if he does indeed, and we'll probably look over his whatever the speech he gave on Saturday, I think it was, while we're watching that, him coming up in another window, if that works for you guys, because in the afternoon I won't be able to do a show because I've got sound check, because tomorrow night is the Ultimate Jam night and it's Metallica night. So I will be singing Damage Incorporated, Am I Evil, Enter Sandman, and Creeping Death. And I'm very excited about that, along with other greats who are joining us and who will be throwing their skills, weight, and guitar playing accuracy into their love for Metallica at the Ultimate Jam night at the Whiskey A Go Go. I'm very excited about all of it. And then the next one is a celebration of the music of Abbey Road, I think. So albums that may surprise you. So that I think is awesome. And one more thing.